Hey guys, today's gonna be a very special video. I'm excited. Um, I just finished Persona 3 Reload finally yesterday, including the DLC. Um, and I thought it would be fitting to make a video on it today. Um, it took me 5 months to beat, man. I started it back in January. Hell, I played the demo, I think back in like October or September, but I started the game in January and then ended it yesterday. So 5 months it took me to beat. So yay for me. But yeah, so I'm basically just gonna be giving you my thoughts and feelings about Persona 3 Reload, plus my overall experience and all that cool jazz. Um, but yeah, originally actually, um, I was gonna make a video on that because it turned 1 year old today. However, I played a lot of games and I think that video idea needs a little more time in the oven before I actually go through with it. Plus, I plan on doing editing and stuff, so it would be quite difficult to um, rush out a good video for today with, editing, which I don't do very much. So I figured I'd do this one instead because perfect timing and all that. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Oh, and by the way, I'll also be doing cuts this video, so that will help with me not rambling on and on and on. So yeah. So first of all, I think I should give you guys um, my story of how I encountered Persona, and I guess the history before I played this game, I should say. Um, so I never heard of this series until um, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate came out and came out with the Joker DLC, you know. Um, I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but I was like, Joker's a really cool character, and I either looked up the game he was from or got it recommended in my YouTube feed. Um, and I clicked the very first Let's Play of it, which was, I believe, Johnny Awesome, and right away I fell in love. Even though I never have played Persona physically yet, it is one of my favorite games ever. Could be my favorite game ever. I'm not sure. I really have to give it thought. Um, because it's kind of weird to say that about a game you've never played personally, right? But I did watch the whole Let's Play the game. But yeah, man, shout out to Johnny Awesome. Persona 5 is a legendary game. I just fell right in love with it. Such a unique game. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Um, so after that, I also tried to watch Persona 4 Golden on YouTube. I think I made it to Kanji's Palace, and then I just checked out. I just wasn't as into it um, as Persona 5. So yeah, and then years passed by. I get the Switch 2, and I later on down the line played the demo for Persona 3 Reload. I fall in love with that, not in the same way as Persona 5, but I was just so pumped for it, and it did disappoint. So I was like, you know what? I'll buy Persona 3 Reload and play it sometime. And now here we are. And also, I think I knew a little bit about Persona 3 too, because I think I watched like a video essay on it back in the day. Just not Persona 3 Reload. So there we go. That's a little rundown on my history with the Persona series. Um, so yeah, let me think about what I want to say next. But yeah, Persona as a series is easily my favorite video game series, at least at the moment, but probably will be for a while, if not my whole life. I'm not sure. And Persona 5 is legitimately the reason why. Such a good game. Such a good game. But um, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the actual game now. Um, hmm, what should I talk about first? I gotta think about that. All right, I guess to start things off, I want to get a lot of the negative aspects out of the way first, because while Persona 3 Reload is an amazing game, it does have some things that bug me or I just simply didn't like. For starters, um, being in a high school setting is cool. I just don't like the way they sexualize the high schoolers. You know what I mean? 'Cause like while they are like very mature like personality wise, and it can be easy to forget that they're high schoolers because they don't really make that seem like a problem. There is a lot of like weird stuff, specifically with like the costumes in Tartarus. There's like swimsuits are fine enough, whatever, but there's also like these I don't know. It just makes me uncomfortable. Um, so that's why I'm hoping Persona 6 when that comes out, it's like a college setting or something. That way I just don't feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's a lot of like sexualization with um the high scores in the game. One specifically that just came to mind right now was that scene in the Love Hotel or whatever where Yukari is like in the shower and she's like, yeah, not naked, but well, I guess she is, but she's got like a towel and it's implied that, I just don't want to talk about it. It's weird. Um, they need to make that different in the next game. So that's my biggest gripe with that game and I guess Persona as a series as whole, whatever. Um, I also think it's an anime thing. You know what I mean? I think I don't watch anime that often, but I think that's common in a lot of animes too, especially ones about romance. But yeah. Um, the other thing too is the characters in the game would sometimes bug me. I think it was mainly just because of the writing at times. I just wasn't into the writing sometimes at certain moments. For example, Yukari again. Um, I don't know. She's just I like her, especially in Episode August. She redeems herself in my heart in Episode August. But during the main game, I just didn't fuck with her that much because she was just kind of bitchy and would just it felt like create problems out of nowhere. Um, I do understand she has like past trauma herself, like with her dad dying, but um, I don't know. I just wasn't a big fan um, of her at times. Um, and some of the social links too were kind of due to the one I can think of is that fat kid Sumitsu. Um, dude, probably the most unlikable character at least in the Persona series for me. I don't dislike him or anything. Um, but he's just got like no redeemable qualities whatsoever. Like he's not that being fat's a irredeemable quality, but he's a glutton who stuffs himself full of food to make him feel better about I think it's his brother. Like he's really jealous of his brother. So I think he's got this like eating disorder. Um he's also like a cultist or something. Uh like I remember because I didn't complete any of the social links besides Aegis. Um, I think I made it to 8 with everyone because I knew I couldn't complete all of them in a full playthrough without cheating. Not cheating, using a guide. So I instead opted to do that in the future with a guide and just for now get through a good chunk of the social links, but not maxing them out. But anyway, I remember he mentioned something about like a paradise and how, uh, yeah, but not a good dude. Um, but it's also not because there's also a dude who's not good. Mr. I forget his name already. God damn it! But he's the Devil Arcana. Um, oh, President Tanaka. There we go. Bro's just straight up evil. But at least with him, he's funny as fuck. With Sumitsu, They actually try to be funny with him, but it just falls flat because it's a lot of like very cliche tropes with like you know, fat characters and all that. Like, ooh, I gotta eat a bunch of food. Uh-oh, I got an upset tummy. Ah, I gotta run to the bathroom. Ah, and just other stuff too. Um, yeah, man. But I it doesn't ruin the game for me at all. Um, I would say the last thing I didn't like that much about Persona 3 Reload would be the fact that certain points of the story just bored the hell out of me. Uh, the one in particular I'm thinking of is when you meet Fuka for the first time. That ghost story thing. Uh, Junpei was the only thing that made it interesting for me, especially with like the flashlight and stuff. That was actually funny. Otherwise, just boring as hell. I don't think I would have quit the game, but I thought about it because I was just bored. It was so boring. That whole ghost story thing. Um, wasn't into it at all. And then certain other moments of the game kind of uh, made me feel like that too, just not as much and not for as long. So that part of the game kind of sucked. Otherwise, fantastic game. So with all the negative stuff out the way, I want to tell you guys about the more positive stuff, or just yeah, yeah. Um, First of all, man, the game's just so gorgeous. My God. It looks so good. I've never played it on handheld besides when I was playing the demo. I made sure to play it on TV because there's a setting you can put on which makes it, I think, improves the frame rate only on TV. And so I turned that on, and oh my gosh, dude, if you play it on TV with that setting enabled, the game is just so fucking gorgeous. It especially yeah, it is especially noticeable like during battle and stuff, especially with the theurgy moves. Dude, they look so good. They're animated so well. That's another cool thing about Persona 3 Reload. You get the theurgy moves. And they're super fun to use, super broken, but in the best way possible. I love it. Um, but yeah, so the game's just so gorgeous. Also, just the art style they went with, especially like if you look at the like the menus. So if you press X and then look at all your things, just like the protagonist like floating around in water or whatever, um, and how smooth, how colorful, or I shouldn't say colorful, but it's got really nice colors. Um, I guess it is colorful in a way. It stands out. It's very bright, vibrant. And then like depending on what uh setting, we'll say setting, it's not the right word I'm thinking of, but like if you go to items, that will be a different one. If you go to skills, a different little thing for that. The UI of the game is just so well done. And I mean that's always kind of been the case, especially from Persona 5 onward. Persona 5's UI is really good like that too. But it's very beautiful to look at. And I like how they do the same thing just with Aigis and episode Aigis. Really, really cool. You'd have to see it for yourself, obviously, but yeah. So the art is just beautiful. I like the 'cause ever since Persona 3, they use primary colors for each of the following entries. Persona 3, they started out with blue, and that goes well with the theme of death in this game and just the sad overall vibe of the game. Um, yeah, the game looks beautiful though. I really like the blue touch of it because, a lot of the game's blue. Um, not like, it's not like the color palette like all blue, but there's a lot of blue. We'll just put it as that. Um, so yeah, the art direction and design and all the execution of it, beautiful. The animations are pretty nice, especially in battle. Um, but yeah, let me think of. Oh, I'm gonna talk about the music next, I think. Dude, the music in Persona 3 Reload is just fucking brilliant. Um, the original game's music, like Persona 3, Persona 3 Fez, Persona 3 Portable, it's good. I like it. Not a lot that I would listen to outside of playing the game. The only one I can really think of is, um, well, I guess two. Memories of the City. I really like that. I think it's the most underrated track in the game. I just think it sounds so cool, especially in the original game. I think I actually prefer the original game's Memories of the City. And then also Memories of You at the very end during the credits, but we'll talk a little more about that later. Hopefully if I remember, I'll talk about that song, but yeah, so those two. But the original music they made for Persona 3 Reload plus their remix version of Changing Seasons, bangers, dude. So yeah, Changing Seasons, it just makes me happy. When I listened to it for the first time when playing the game, I was like, holy shit, dude. What an awesome song. I like how they added lyrics to it this time around because in the original game, it was good too. I actually like it in that, but there was no singing at all. In this game, they have female vocals, um, but really well done song. It fits the school vibe too, with changing seasons and start of a new semester, being optimistic and all that. Um, I love it. It's a good song. Um, and then there's three others. There is It's Going Down Now, Color Your Night, and Full Moon Full Life. Full Sorry about that. My sister came down to do something. But anyway, I think I was talking about Full Moon Full Life. Such a good song. I love it paired with the anime opening cutscene. That's another thing. The anime cutscenes in the game, speaking of like the art thing, um, gorgeous. I love it. Um, it's a little jarring how the designs are a little bit different from the actual game, but it doesn't matter too much. But very gorgeous. I love the anime cutscenes. But anyway, Full Moon, Full Life, what a wonderful song. You don't get to hear the whole thing in the actual game, I'm pretty sure. I think you have to find the actual soundtrack and listen to the whole thing, but you get the first part of it, or maybe third, I don't know, when you play the actual game. And yeah, it's a banger. I love it. Very anime-like, very inspiring, cool. I actually like it. I prefer it over um, Burn Burn My Dread. I know a lot of people may not like that, but I just like it more. Though Burn My Dread's a classic. Um, but yeah, Full Moon Full Life's amazing, but Color Your Night and It's Going Down Now, dude, those are so peak. Color Your Night plays, during the nighttime of the game. The vibes are amazing when that song plays. It's just such, I don't know. It's not a very like it doesn't get you pumped up or anything, but just very chill, very cool. Um I don't know. I love listening to it. It's really cool. The female vocals are amazing. Lotus Juice in the song is amazing. Especially when he sings. I'm pretty sure that's him singing. He's got a pretty good singing voice on him, but yeah, one awesome song Color Your Night is, and it really fits the vibe of the game, especially for what the remake's going for. Um, and then finally, It's Going Down Now. What an amazing song too. You know what I mean? Just banger music from the new Atlas team making this game. Um, like I said, the old songs were good too, but I vastly prefer the new music. It's Going Down Now is amazing. I love listening to it, but it's one of those things where I listen to it so much playing through the game that it doesn't hit the same anymore. But it's still a really good song. Gets me really pumped up, especially when the main chorus kicks in. I'm not gonna sing it for you, I'm sorry, but just listen to it for yourself if you're curious. Um, so yeah, the music's just fantastic in this game. Um, Very emotional too. I do like the more emotional ones, except the one that goes do 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 do. Um, that plays a lot during the sad scenes. I think it plays so much that um it loses. its meaning to me. I think that's why. I mean, it's all right, but in that uh not verse, but that melody is remixed a lot and reused a lot in the music in this game in better ways too. So, um, yeah, but no, the music's a banger. So yeah, next topic. I don't know what it'll be. Oh yeah, I forgot episode I guess music. Not as good as the base games, but I do like it. Don't pretty nice. I like the vibe of it. Not as catchy as a lot of the other songs though, but I like it. And also Disconnected, pretty damn good. I like it's like with Full Moon Full Life, it's like the anime opening cutscene for episode Aegis, and it's pretty good. And I really like the animation itself too. So yeah, um, but it's interesting too because I think they hired a completely different singer for the DLC than the main game, at least for the female vocals. So yeah. Next, I feel like I should talk about the DLC. So, but by DLC, I just mean episode, I guess, because there's DLC costumes and whatever. But yeah, because I don't want to forget to talk about this. But episode, I guess, it's good. Um, it's not like earth-shattering or anything, but it's a good DLC. I like the I'd say my favorite part, the battles were good too, but it's kind of how they deal with a certain character's death. You know what I mean? Which I'll get to. Actually, if you're watching this, you already probably know. The main character dies. So, I think his canon name might be Makoto. So, it's how they deal with Makoto's death. I really like the beginning scene where they're all in the room together, returning their evokers, talking about, you know, oh, life's gonna change, you know, and just how they've handled his death. At least that's what I remember. And then I also like the last scene of the game where, you know, Aigis finds the meaning to life, which is, I think it's two things, death and friendship. So, yeah, because death brings meaning to life, and friendship um, enhances life. At least that's what I get from it. So I think that message is really good, just like the main game. Um, but yeah, because the DLC was mainly just battling, it did feel like a slog at times. It was kind of hard to convince my that was a weird ass motion. Kind of like get myself going, convince myself to play. It was hard at times just because I knew it'd be repetitive, but I still like it. Um, it was good. The environments were pretty good for the most part. I'd say my least favorite was that kind of purple one. With like it reminds you of like a sewer. Um, like a purple sewer or something. I don't think it is, but that's probably my least favorite one. I still liked it though. My favorite was either like the red hallway one or the palace or whatever. Also the ancient uh Egyptian type one was pretty good too. Um but yeah. I also like the final boss battle. The final boss battle's pretty cool. It was fun. Um, and then like, oh my God, dude, the battles between like the three sets of characters. So, Akihiko Ken, Yukari Mitsuru, Koromaru Junpei. Um, Really funny because I struggled so much with Akihiko and Ken. I died like four times in that battle, and I was like, man, I was actually excited though, because I was getting some challenge, so that was fun. But I figured out how to play it and I beat them finally and I was super happy. I was like, okay, can't wait to see how challenging the next two battles will be. Um, I kind of swept them. Not swept because it wasn't easy. I got close to dying quite a few times, but I beat them both first try. Um, my strategy was first of all, do not use Tetrakarn or Makarakarn because then they will just spam Megidolon, however you pronounce that, which sucks because it targets both them for neutral damage, but a lot of damage. And the main thing saving me was debilitate. I would just debilitate everything with Satan. Um, Crazy. Good thing this is Persona, because out of context that would sound fucking wild. Um, and then also just using theurgy moves, making sure I'm powered up when I use them. Um, but I would always take out like the healer or support user first. So I took out Ken first, I took out Koromaru first, and then I took out. I don't think Koromaru was that much of a supporter though. But then I took out Yukari first as well, and then just left the attackers alone because I didn't want them healing each other up because that's what happened with Ken. But yeah, anyway, those battles are fun. And then the story with Aigis, pretty good. Metis, yeah, she's cool, I guess. I I wasn't a big fan of the sister stuff, but yeah, I guess I'll talk more about the characters later because I want to talk about them individually, especially like the main core. Um, but yeah, so episode I guess really good experience. But yeah, definitely preferred the base game much more. Let me think if there's any other thing I want to mention about episode I guess. There definitely is. Well, firstly, the only character I would say is at their best, um, in episode Aigis would be Yukari. I could argue Aigis too. I don't know. I think I like base game Aigis more. But Yukari I think was at her best here because not only did she play more of a role in the story, but a lot of the traits I didn't like about her there, some of them were present, but she kind of learns her lessons, and I think that's really cool. Um, I still don't kind of know why she bugs me so much. It might be because she teases Junpei too much, and Junpei's my goat, so we don't tolerate that shit. It could be that, but no. The other thing I want to mention was I like the lore it adds to the base game with like the flashbacks and stuff. That's actually really cool. I liked seeing Ken's at the police station. I like seeing Akihiko and Mitsuru in like the boxing gym or whatever in middle school. I like seeing Mitsuru awakening to her persona in Tartarus. I like seeing Yukari letter from her dad. Was that what it was? I forgot. I'm so sorry, Yukari. I'm doing you so dirty. Um, and then I especially like seeing Junpei, and Koromaru at Paulownia Mall. It was really interesting to find out that Junpei's dad was like an alcoholic. So, you know, getting drunk on cooking wine or whatever. Hmm, yeah. So, didn't know he had a bad home life, or I'm assuming. But yeah, anyway, I think that's it. I should keep it short, but yeah, I recommend episode I guess. I forget how much the DLC costs, but yeah, if you like Persona 3 Reload and really like the battling system of the game, I recommend episode I guess. Otherwise, just don't bother. Play the actual game. But yeah, um, yeah. Let me think about my next topic then. Again, I guess I'll talk about the actual gameplay. The gameplay was really fun, honestly. Um, I would say I think I honestly preferred the actual battling over like the social link and social part of the story. Both were still really good. I think I just like the battling a little more, if I'm being honest. Um, but yeah, so let me think about what I want to start talking about gameplay wise. Yeah, one thing I would like to mention real quick, I really love the environmental storytelling of this game, specifically when you're running around the map and stuff, seeing what happens to each character, how they accept their loss, or like um, overcome their hardships, or just like them talking about stuff that happens during the game, especially towards the end, like in January, you know what I mean? Um, I thought that was really cool. Let me give some shout outs to the NPCs I really liked. Shout out to Cat Loving Boy. Shout out to Cabman or Taxi Man. Shout out to that little girl who like talks shit about her teachers. Shout out to the rumor spreading girl. Shout out to Santa Claus, that one mission. Shout out to the lazy student. Shout out to the horny student. Shout out to the movie snob. Shout out to the gamer. Shout out, especially shout out to the old man in Polonia Mall, by the fountain. Um, Shout out to all those Nyx cultists. Are those the NPCs I want to shout out? I guess so. I mean, they're NPCs, so yeah. But yeah, no, I just think it's really cool how, depending on how far you're in the story, you see certain things happen, or you just learn more about these NPCs that otherwise you just wouldn't talk to. Um, yeah, it's very interesting to see how things change as the game progresses. So, yeah. But anyway, gameplay wise, it's obviously split between the social life and then uh, the actual battling in like Tartarus, night and day, or day and night. For the social life can be both day and night. The battling's always at night. At least I'm pretty sure. So, um, but yeah. Anyway, um, Tartarus. I already talked a little bit about the Abyss of Time. Just yeah. But Tartarus is really cool. Um, I would say I like Tartarus better than the Abyss of Time. I like going up rather than going down, probably. Um, um, but yeah, the battling's really fun. They got a lot of good stuff. I think I already mentioned the Theurgy. The Theurgy's super fun to use. Um, I like how, because I think in the original games you couldn't control the other party members. I do like how they give you full control of them in this game. It makes shifting real nice. You know, um, Odd attacks much more smoother. Um, Yeah. I also like the personas of the game. I loved going to like the compendium in like the Velvet Room and just reading through all the backstories of each persona. It was pretty cool to learn their lore. Um, yeah. And then you know what? Shout out to my favorite personas, all right? Um, Mithras. I liked Mithras because I used him a lot because I knew I could get a Theurgy move out of him. I just didn't know it would take that long to get Siegfried. Um, Shout out to Floros. He's pretty cool. Shout out to obviously Orpheus. Duh. Shout out to Oberon. He was like my magic user for a lot of the early game. Um, Shout out to Mothman. He's pretty funny. Shout out to Lilith. She was my like spirit drainer. Um, Shout out to ooh, is it Shiva? I forgot. It's like that Hindu deity, the blue one with spinning stuff. He was my late game guy. I used him a lot. He was my main late game dude. Shout out to Thanatos, if that's how you pronounce it. Shout out to Dominion, maybe my favorite design. I really liked it. Shout out to Genbu, I think its name is. Um, it's like that Chinese turtle dragon thing. Um, any other shout outs to any of the personas I really liked? Saturnus, shout out to Saturnus, pretty cool. Um, there might be one more. Shout out to the Messiah. Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Shout out to the Messiah. For now, I think that's it. There might be more. Who cares? But yeah, those were the personas I liked using. I might have missed some. Oh well. But yeah. Anyway, for the actual battling, yeah, a lot of fun, like I said. Um, I liked exploring Tartarus, collecting stuff, upgrading the weapons with like the gems you find in Tartarus, and then going to Polonia Mall and then upgrading them. That was pretty cool. Um, I liked the bosses there. I will say, pretty easy. I think part of it has to do with me. Every time I would meet the, we'll say the deadline floor, I would replay the whole block or half block or whatever, and just grind it through again. Oh, geez, my contact. So that helped with leveling and getting all the uh, really good equipment and stuff. So yeah. Um, but yeah, no, the battling's super fun in the game. I like the boss battles too. But I might talk about that more when it comes to the story. So yeah. So the gameplay is really good on the battle side and the Tartarus. Very repetitive though, that's the thing. Um, but as for the social life, that's pretty good too. Um, Gosh, I do wish it felt a little bit shallow to me. You know what I mean? Especially with like the social links. It didn't really feel like I was becoming like closer to them, if that makes sense. There's very few that I felt like close to at the end. Um, you know, the bookstore couple, Bunkichi and Mitsuko or something like that. I really liked them. They were cool. Uh, Maiko was sweet. Who else? I did like the track dude, Kazuya. Um, Miyamoto? Yeah, I think so. He was cool, but not one of my favorites. Bebe. Bebe was one of my favorites. I really like Bebe. Who else? That that guy in the bench was really interesting. I liked him. I actually never completed a social link, and I know what happens, and that's so cool. So next time I play, I wanna experience that. But the funny thing that happened with him once though was I think it was a Sunday in the game, and I was progressing my social link with Hayase. The dude was on that bench today, of course, but when I went to progress the social link, it was Hayase on the bench with me, and then that guy nowhere to be seen. So I like to think that Hayase just told him to get the fuck out. That's just so funny to me, saying that to like a really terminally ill dude. Um, yeah, that's just funny. But anyway, I also like the character social links. Like Mitsuru's was pretty good. Um, but Fuka, I liked Fuka's too, and Yukari's. But Aegis was super fun. It was the only one I maxed out. But it's really cool how she's learning to be human and kind of realizes the pros and cons of going from being a machine to being a human and just kind of adjusting to that. Um, it's really interesting. Um, I also think if you do the romance route, I think it's funny how like it's just so weird. Like that like memory thing in the back of her neck, how she wants you to like touch it or whatever. Dude, that's funny. That's like that would basically be like sexual intercourse for her, right? That's like the closest you can get because she's a robot. Um, but dude, when that was happening, I was just fucking I couldn't hold it together. I thought it was hilarious. It's just so weird. Okay, but yeah. Um, any other social links I want to mention? Oh, I like the guy who smoked the cigars. Shout out to him, the monk. I also liked President Tanaka because he's like a fucking psychopath. Um, who else? Let me think for a second. I might be missing one. Dude, I knew there was. There's actually two. I really like Chihiro. She actually reminds me of like a coworker of mine, which I thought was interesting, but she's very sweet, but very timid. Um, yeah, she's cool. But I think one of my favorite social links was Yuko. Um, she was very interesting. I think by the way, the voice acting in Persona 3 Reload and Persona, actually the newer games I'll say, just phenomenal, especially in this game. They knocked it out of the park with like the casting and stuff. I prefer pretty much all the new voices over the old ones, at least the ones I've heard of. Except maybe like Ken. I'm not sure. But all of them are good. Like literally all of them. There's no bad voice acting in this game, which I can't say about the original. I'm looking at you, Fuka. But yeah. So the voice acting phenomenal, especially from Yuko. Uh, I forget her last name. It's like fishy, wishy. I don't know. It's like I think it's got like fish in it. Wishy washy. Um, but no, she's cool. Um, yeah, it's very interesting because when you first meet her, there's like this optional thing where it's like, do you go up to talk to her or do you wait? And then what you're supposed to do is wait. And then the next day or the next time they have track practice, that's when you can go up to her because, you know, timing and stuff. And I honestly wish they had more nuance like that in the actual game, right? That's what I'm talking about because otherwise the social links are pretty easy. You can't really mess them up. I heard it's really hard to reverse them in this game because that didn't happen to me, like at all. I didn't come close, but yeah, social links are good. Same with like a good chunk of the characters just didn't really feel really fulfilling for me if I'm being honest. Um, so um, yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about social link wise. I'm just looking at the characters. Oh, it was kind of funny with that the classmate just being like, I mean, like a MILF hunter, um, or like a teacher hunter. I don't know. He would. Oh my God, dude! If Kawakami was in Persona 3, he'd be all over her, I bet. But anyway, yeah. So that's all for the social links. I think, yeah, I think I'll talk about the characters next. I just might need a little more thinking. Oh yeah, did I pause it? Oh no, we're good. Um, Another thing, sorry for butchering a lot of the names, especially like the last names. I'm bad at memorizing like foreign names, especially like Japanese type names. So bear with me. I think her last name's Nishiwaki though, Yuko for Yuko. So I remembered it now, so let's go. Um, but yeah, anyway, for the main group of characters, I think I'm gonna talk about obviously C's. I'll talk about characters related to C's members, like with Mitsuru's dad or Yukari's father, um, Akihiko's little sister. Maybe I'll talk about them, but if they come up, I will, like during the story when I'm kind of talking about it. But and then I'll also talk about Strega, I think. Um, and then of course Ikutsuki and any other character related to the plot in some major way. So yeah. Actually, there is one other thing I want to mention gameplay wise that I just remembered. The super bosses of the game, crazy. It was so fun to take down the Reaper because I did my own strategy and it worked out. I didn't use a full party member or a full party. I just used me, myself, and I, and Ken. So basically, I just Makar and Tetrakarned so that it would just reflect the damage. And I mean, that worked out for me. And also Ken with his Theurgy move of setting up that stuff anyway without having to waste SP was pretty cool. So that was the game strat there. The game strat. The game plan there, and it worked out. It took a couple tries, probably I think like 3 tries, but I killed the Reaper and I was super satisfied. But I didn't know that you can fight another boss, which is way harder. Elizabeth, man, Jesus Christ. I didn't end up beating her, obviously. Um, on the next playthrough I do, like the 100% one, I think I'm gonna use like Orpheus Telos. Um, because man, she's such a fucking sore, not a sore loser, but like she's just a hacker, man. Come on, like you use your immunities and draining abilities, or I don't even know what you'd call that. We'll say immunities, whether it be like nullifying it, draining the attack, or reflecting it. Um, you play smart and do that, and then she just insta kills you with Pixie, which I think is incredibly funny, by the way. But man, I ain't beating her unless I am a try hard or whatever. But wasn't worth it to me. So yeah, I have that to look forward to, and also Joker in episode August, which I heard is even harder. So I gotta look forward to that. But yeah, anyway, that's just what I want to talk about, gameplay wise. All right, I think I know what I'm gonna do. I think I will combine the last section, which is story and characters, together. So I'll tell the story, and then when I feel like it, I'll talk about certain characters, whether it feels fitting or just, you know, when they come up. But yeah, so like I said, my first experience was with, I think I said it in this take anyway, with the demo. And I played up until the train boss, and then obviously the demo ended. That was loads of fun. So then, I repeated again, and yeah. So the beginning of the game, pretty interesting, you arrive at or you're about to arrive at your dorm when all the weird stuff happens. People turn into coffins, everything gets dark and gloomy, so you're just kind of walking through. And then you get there, and then you sign the contract from Pharaohs, that creepy little boy. And then, um, yeah, and then I think the first character you meet is Mitsuru, I believe. And then you meet Yukari, and then Akihiko, I think. I could be misremembering. And then, oh, I think I'm misremembering. But anyway, yeah, basically the whole Dark Hour stuff is introduced to you at the beginning, and yeah. But let me think. But yeah, the beginning's really nice. It's one of those like fresh new game experiences where you're just really excited, especially because the presentation of the game's just really good. So, yeah. Um, is there any I don't think I want to talk about the characters yet, but yeah, you're slowly introduced to the game. Um, the characters you first meet are obviously Yukari, Mitsuru, Junpei, and Akihiko. Your first party members are actually Yukari and Junpei, but the others either Mitsuru's the navigator for like the beginning of the game, and then yeah, but you probably know that if you played the game. Um, Honestly, I kind of I think Fuka's the better navigator, but I kind of missed having Mitsuru as the navigator. I thought she did a pretty good job. Um, but yeah. Um, so hmm. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm not gonna tell the whole story because I might not even remember. I don't think I remember well, I remember most of it, but just not good enough where I can just relay the story to on the spot, you know. So I'll just be telling you my favorite moments, my least favorite moments. Actually, I already kind of did. So I guess my favorite moments of the story, and just memories, with like the characters and just whatever. So yeah, let me think again. I guess first of all, I want to talk about Strega. So that would be Jin, Chidori, and Takaya. I actually really like Strega. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of them. In this game, I feel like they're pretty good. I know in last game or in previous Persona 3 iterations, they're pretty pathetic when you battle them, but in this game they felt a lot cooler. Um, I mean, with Jin, probably the most forgettable one, but yeah, he's kind of like the henchman or grunt to me at least. Um, I like his attacking style with like the grenades and stuff like that. He seems like a I don't know, uh kind of like a psycho, but I guess that makes sense. They're like the evil team of the game. Um, but yeah, um Jin, I don't have much more to say about Jin. but I do have a lot to say about Chidori. Um, First of all, kind of a weird goth girl thing going on, but she grew on me as time went on. Um, she's not one of my favorite characters by any means, but yeah, she's not bad. Um, what I do find interesting is how Junpei really, really, really likes her, and it's really interesting to think about. Is it? Hold on, I'm gonna pause it for a second. Yeah, I always wondered why Junpei liked her initially, because like I feel like for most men, every single thing about Chidori would like set off red flags, yet Junpei just kept persisting. Um, yeah, I don't know if he's just that down bad or if he just really was into her and really cared about her. I like to believe the latter option. I feel like that's more fitting. Um, but yeah, probably the best romance in that game. It didn't feel weird at all. Well, both of them are kind of odd ducks. Not so much Junpei, but definitely Chidori. Um, but like, um, yeah, I really like that relationship between them two, especially with the Theurgy move Junpei has. I think that's a really cool touch, like that Blaze of Life one. Um, but yeah, no, Chidori's really cool. Um, and then Takaya. I really like him. He's probably my favorite of the three. Um, I like his design. He's kind of like a crazy Jesus, basically. Um, like a cultist Jesus. And he's pretty, I'd say he's pretty intimidating. Not like I'm scared of him or anything, but I could see why the characters in the game view Strega and him as a threat, you know? Um, I also kind of like those interactions where he's just trying to convince you to join his side. I think there's two instances of it. One at the shrine and one at I think it's in January when you go to the Club Escapade and talk to that one guy. He brings you down the alleyway. Um, yeah, I think that was really cool. Instead of just having to fight him all the time, just seeing that side of him was really cool. Um, but yeah, um, and I really liked the boss battles between all of them. They were fun. I had a lot of fun battling them. So I think that's all I have to say about Strager for now. Let's talk about Ikutski now. Um, Dude, I fucking knew it. I fucking knew he'd be the bad guy. I wasn't even spoiled ahead of time. I just had a feeling. When I first met him in the game, I was like, nah, something's off. I feel like he's gonna end up being like a twist villain. Um, and then as the game progressed, I was like, okay, maybe not. Maybe he's here to stay. Um, and then it happens, and it's like, yes, I knew it. I just got those vibes from him. So I don't know. Should I take full credit because I predicted it at the beginning, or does it is it kind of dampened because for a while I didn't believe it? You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I do like him as a character. All he really does is make puns and stuff, but yeah, he's fine. I like him. Um, and I like the lore behind. Yeah, I like the lore behind the characters too. Like him being one of the scientists, Yukari's father, and also that lady in Polonium Mall who sells you those weapons. Um, yeah, I think that's really cool. But anyway, um, also Pharos and Ryoji. Um, I guess I'll talk about Pharos now, and when I talk about the story mode, I'll talk about Ryoji, sorry, not Ryuji, for real. Um, but yeah, Pharos just felt like a nothing burger character for me. Feels like he was just meant to be kind of creepy. Um, and that's really it. Yeah, like your bond with him just forms naturally throughout the game, or bond, like the social link progressing, but it doesn't really feel like anything's happening. So yeah, but is it now time to talk about the main characters? I think so. Let's start with Yukari, I guess. Because I mentioned her a lot before, and she's the first character you see besides maybe Mitsuru. I don't remember. Yeah, she might be my least favorite of all the, um, I guess, C's members, but that doesn't mean she's a bad character at all. Just kind of, I don't know. Because she's pretty cool, especially in episode Aegis. I liked her much better in episode Aegis, but yeah. Um, I liked her social link too. It was fun to get to know her. Um, it was fun to get to know her mom, because like I don't know how she handled her dad's death. Um, oh yeah, which speaking of, I think you know how death is like a really central part to Persona 3. I really like how every single character in the game, besides I think Fuka, deals with death in some way. The main character, he deals with the death of his parents. Mitsuru deals with the death of her father in the story, which by the way, he's a pretty cool character. Don't have much to say about him, but I like the eye patch. And then Yukari deals with the death of her father. Akihiko, he gets two. He gets his little sister, but he also gets Shinjiro. Um, which all of them get Shinjiro, but you know what I mean. He's probably the one that's most impacted, along with Ken. Ken, he has his mother and also Shinjiro in a way, but more so his mother. Um, let's see. I don't think Shinjiro had to deal with the death of anyone except himself, and I guess the main character applies to. I guess I don't think she deals with the death of anybody except the main character at the very end of the game, and then episode I guess right. Um, and then Fuka doesn't really deal with any deaths in her life. The closest is her friend moving away, but she's not dead. She's just gone. But yeah. Oh yeah, and then Koromaru, my boy, obviously deals with I think his owner was a priest, so yeah, the priest death. And also a really cool touch about Koromaru is you get his awakened persona right away. They don't say it, or actually they do imply it, but I'm sure his persona was something different and then became Cerberus because he's already got access to both his theurgy moves. Um, and yeah, I think that's a really cool touch how he dealt with his personal struggles right before you meet him. So yeah. But yeah, anyway, so Yukari, yeah, she's good. But who do I want to mention next? Oh yeah, Ken. Um, it's either Ken or Aigis in the running for the character that grew on me the most throughout the game. I think it's Ken though, because I used to not like him very much. I think he was my least favorite for a while. But I think I'm starting to understand or just simply like him a little bit more. Um, I think the reason why I didn't like him much was just because of his shtick of wanting to be older, wanting to be more mature. But I kind of get why for him because I just let me think. I think it has to do with his mom's death and feeling powerless. So I think he wishes to be older and stronger so that he can fight for the ones he loves. I believe that's it, and I fuck with that. That's pretty cool. Um, yeah, Ken's a really good character. I like how with Koromaru and Ken, they're just so different from the others. Koromaru because he's a dog, and then Ken because he is a little child, a fifth grader. Um, so yeah, and then Ken's probably the most broken party member. I mean, he just kind of does everything. It's either him or Yukari once she gains her SP cuts, especially when it's like down to a quarter, because that's really good, healing everyone up like that. Um, but yeah, who do I want to talk about next? Because I'm kind of going in order of least favorite to favorite. Let me think for a sec. By the way, this video is almost 1 hour now. I think on my thing it says 59:54. So 5 seconds from now, it's gonna be an hour. So pretty cool. I've never had a video this long. Hopefully it uploads. Oh, there we go. An hour. Perfect. Um, Now I think I'll talk about Ryoji. Because I'm not going in chronological order with the story. I tried that, but yeah. All right. Um, anyway, Ryoji. I ended up really liking him. At first, he felt kind of weird. I wasn't into it. But as you learn more about who he is and who he represents, which is Nyx, I start to really like him. And then side note, because I don't want to forget to say it, it is really cool how in episode Aegis they say that Nyx isn't the evil one. It's actually all of humanity's evil subconscious and all their hatred and bad qualities just combined into one kind of monster. And that's why uh, there needs to be that seal. So none of that gets out or whatever. I think that's really cool. But yeah, anyway, um, Ryoji represents Nyx and was, sealed away inside of Makoto. And then you were tricked by, who was it? I think it was Akutsuki. Yeah, Akutsuki tricks you into releasing death, basically. So, yeah. But I think that his role in the story is really cool because at first he's just like another student, and then later on, specifically towards the end of the month, that's when you start to realize. Um, yeah, I think that's super cool. Um, but yeah, so I don't have much more to say about Ryoji. Personality wise, um, I don't know, because he was kind of like a flirt, or he either knew what he was doing or just was oblivious to it. Um, I don't know how I feel about that. It's just all right. Um, but yeah, I guess he's cool. Um, who should I talk about next? Actually, there's a memory I want to share. So one of the most memorable parts about my playthrough was when my mom was watching me play. Um, it was only one time, or actually, she's done it, I think, maybe one or two more times, but she was just sleeping in her bed, so she wasn't really paying attention. But the one time she did, I think she was like crocheting something, and it was the entirety of that class trip to that one part of Japan. And so she saw the whole trip. And what was funny to me is she was convinced that Yukari and Mitsuru were like a lesbian couple. And I just find that hilarious. Whenever I think of that, whenever I think of them together, I think of that. And you know what? It might be true because in episode August, they end up pairing up with each other. So yeah, it's real. But anyway, that's just a fun memory. Um, yeah. Honestly, I feel like Fuka, Akihiko, and Mitsuru are like all on a pretty similar level. So I'll just talk about them. No particular order. Um, I guess we'll go Akihiko. I think he's really cool. I like his voice. Very deep, very mature. Um, his whole personality is like training and boxing, but I still think that's cool. But that's kind of what holds him back. To me, he feels like one of the more one-dimensional characters. He's still, like I said, he's still pretty cool, but yeah. Um, I just wish there was a little more to him. But otherwise, yeah. Um, I liked that one scene with like his social link or whatever they call it, dorm hangout, where he makes all those pancakes. That was pretty cool. And then like fed him to everyone. You learn more about him and his past with like his sister with that like box and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Um and then, his relationship with Shinji. But well, you don't learn about it there, but I'm just saying I like his relationship with Shinji. Um but yeah, Akihiko's cool. Um I will say let's go Fuka next. Um, yeah, Fuka is so adorable. I really like her. She's so sweet. Um, One thing though is during Tartarus, she can kind of, I wouldn't say she's a bitch, far from it, but if you do something bad, she'll let you know. Because I remember I was going through Tartarus and I let Ken scout. This was back when I like jokingly hated on him. So I just went back to the hub instead of going to the next floor. And she like goes on a tangent about not leaving your friends behind or, make sure everyone's here when you go back. Dude, I thought that was so funny. How she'll just like scold you for that. Um, but yeah, anyway, Fuka herself, she's really cool, really, really sweet. Too bad her cooking sucks. By the way, does every Persona game have like a female character who sucks ass at cooking? It feels like that's a trope. 'Cause I think in Persona 4, don't know much about it, but Yukiko sucks at cooking or something. But oh yeah, and about that, I think it's funny how you need like max courage to be able to start her social link, which is easy to get, but yeah, I think that's funny. Um, but no, Fuka's a sweetheart. I really like her. I think she's one of my favorites, honestly. Now that I think about it more. Um, then Mitsuru. You know, there's a lot of people who aren't a fan of her. What I really like about Mitsuru is she, a lot of like fictional characters with her personality type are made to be kind of like bitches, you know what I mean? But she's not a bitch at all. In fact, she's very respectful, even though she came from like a very rich background. She's pretty humble. Um, yeah, no, she's just a great character, man. I really like her character design too, because red's my favorite color, so I think I like the red hair on her. Um, I like her, yeah, I like her personality. She's like very analytical. I think that's cool. Um, it's funny how like during your social link with her, there are certain things she doesn't know how they work just because of her background, right? Like going to a restaurant, she she talks about how like she doesn't, you know, she doesn't know the proper etiquette or whatever. I don't know. I just thought that was cool. But no, Mitsuru's cool. One of my favorites as well. Um, who's next? Yeah, okay, okay. Shinjiro. I almost forgot to mention him, which is sad because he's one of my favorites, but he only appears for a short section of the game. You know, I've cried a lot in my life. I've cried a lot to movies and TV shows and other things. I haven't cried much to video games though. The only two video game series that have managed to make me do it are the Walking Dead Telltale series and Persona. Um, and this game made me cry twice. One of those times was with Shinjiro's death. I really did not want to believe he was gone. I was so excited to use him and so excited to learn more about him, be friends with him in the game or whatnot. Just, you know, go through the Persona 3 journey with him. I knew about his death beforehand, but I was really hoping that he'd be revived at some point. Um, I thought it would happen, but it never ended up happening, and that really sucks. Um, yeah, man, he's a cool guy. Tough life, very edgy, but I like it because I think he's just like fucking shit. I don't think any other character comes close to saying that. Maybe Junpei, but I don't remember those words. I think he might have said like hell or whatever. Um, but yeah, just kind of interesting how he juxtaposes a lot of the other characters in the game by saying those words. They can be kind of funny too. Um, no, Shinjiro's cool. I really like his character design. I think him and Mitsuru have my favorite of like the main cast. Um, so yeah, it's really suck he died. It really sucks he died because I was really enjoying him. So rest in peace, Shinjiro Aragaki. You will definitely be missed. Um, yeah. Though the thing is, it is kind of sad how his death gets overshadowed eventually by the main character dying. Just wanted to say that. I guess next I will talk about Aigis. I don't think she actually might be lower than a lot of these characters. Like I feel something more with like Shinjiro and Mitsuru and Fuka, Akihiko. I think so anyway, yeah. But the thing about Aigis is I think she's incredibly well written. You know, I think there has been a lot of stories with uh robot characters becoming more human or whatever, more sentient, if that's the word I'm thinking of. Um, and yeah, but with Aegis, hers was like I said earlier, it was very interesting to learn um, how a robot turning into a human may think about uh, normal mundane things in life. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, it's like she's like a little kid just learning about the world for the first time. And I think that's really cool. But also she does say a lot of stuff that gets me thinking. Just yeah. Um, her character's really well done. Easily the most thought-provoking character in my opinion of the game. And I like thinking about stuff, cool stuff that people say. So yeah, I guess it's really cool. Um, yeah. But now we've reached my two favorite characters, all right? And also, yeah, I'll talk about the protagonist too, but let me pause it for a second. Quick break. So the protagonist, um, yeah, um, I wouldn't say I necessarily cried to his death, but just everything that was going on around him. Um, yeah, but well, I guess he had cried when he died because if he hadn't died, none of that would have happened. But I'll talk more about at the end. As the protagonist, though, I think it is so cool. It's a really nice touch how Igor, you know, I haven't talked much about the Velvet Room, have I? I really like the Velvet Room. I just always liked going in, fusing personas, really cool vibes. I already mentioned I liked looking through the compendium. Igor and Elizabeth are cool. Oh yeah, Elizabeth. Let's talk more about Elizabeth. Before I mention the main character. Um, yeah, Elizabeth is probably my favorite Velvet Room attendant so far. She's really funny. I like doing those little hangouts with her where she was the other character like Aigis, where she was just learning more about the world. I thought that was cool. Um, but yeah. Oh, I also forgot to mention Metis. I'll mention her later. Whatever. Um, but no, Elizabeth is cool. Um, It's funny how she sneaks into your room or whatever. I don't think anything happens, but it's fine. There should have been a romance there. Come on. 'Cause like I don't care much about romances with like the other high schoolers and stuff, but let us romance the adults more without it being like a fetish thing, like with Kawakami or even like Takemi. You know what I mean? We need more of that. Come on, come on. Get those cougars uh I don't know. Um but Yeah, Elizabeth's really cool. I like her. She's got a good design too. It's also interesting how she has like a little brother, um, who you don't get to see in this game, but I think it's in Portable. If you play as the female protagonist, you get to see him. But yeah. And then Metis, I mentioned her a little bit, how I didn't like her. Sorry about that again. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I think I was talking about Metis. Yeah, like I said, her sister shtick got old, but I did like her role in the story at the end. She was kind of like the part of Aigis that Aigis wished away. So, yeah. And she's also a really cool character to use in the actual battles. So, yeah. Um, Metis is pretty cool. I don't have much else to say. Um, her introduction was pretty badass too. But all right, Tor A Maru, my second favorite character in the game. Um, it's really just because he's an animal. It, yeah, that's basically it. But Koromaru is really cool too. He's a really cool pup. I like his hangouts. You get to learn more about Koromaru. You get to meet other people, and they do the talking for him. Um, yeah, everybody loves Koromaru. So it makes sense why it'd be so high for me. Um, it's very interesting because I think he's like a Shiba Inu. I looked it up once, but like an albino version with like red eyes. That's pretty cool. Um, yeah. So I love you, Koromaru. You're the best. Shout out to the best puppers ever. In fiction, because obviously in real life it'd be all my puppers. Um, but yeah. And then finally, we got the goat himself. I gotta think about what I want to say though. All right, I'm gonna stand up because why not? All right, but lastly, we have the goat himself, Junpei Iori. The weird thing is, he's probably got my least favorite character design when I first saw him, especially when he takes off his hat because it's just way too smooth. I always thought that was so weird. Um, but easily my favorite character, as you can tell by my profile picture, at least during this time. Um, yeah, man, he is probably he could be my favorite fictional character ever someday. Like I kid you not, I love him so much. But right now he's probably second to Lee Everett from the Walking Dead Telltale series. Because I love Lee that much too, if not a little more. Um, but nah, man, what makes Junpei so great, man? I love his personality. Just very, very happy, very excited, uh, a very go-getter. Yeah, whatever. Um, but I also have an affinity towards like kind of best friend bro type characters in stories, especially like ones with like personalities like him. But Junpei's easily the best one. Um, I also like him in battle too. He's just a crit machine, man. I thought he was like one of the worst party members for the longest of time until I realized how good crits are. And that's when he became, yeah, that much better for me. Junpei's the best, man. Like I said, his story with Chidori, so good, man. When she dies, that is so heartbreaking. Um, but the best part is when you give him the flower in time. Later on during the game, I think in January, Chidori can come back to life. She won't remember anything because she was in a coma, but those flowers somehow, because she had that, her persona uh, could restore life. Um, I think since she had those flowers or whatever, a lot of that power was still with her, or I guess in those flowers. And when she was touching them, they restored her back to life. So that's really nice. So Junpei literally saved her life. So I guess they're meant to be. But that's if you finish that in time. If you don't, then I think she's dead. But nah, man, Junpei is so good. Um, feels like I'm kind of getting weird about it. Um, I'm not like turned on or anything by him, but maybe I am. I'm Junpei sexual, but dude, he's just so good. And one other thing about him too is he's oddly like one of the most mature characters. It's not when the game first starts. He's probably like one of the least mature characters, if not the least mature. But as the story goes on, you can see how much he's changed, and it's just beautiful. He talks about a lot of things like you know, how he's always wanted to be the hero, and that's why he's jealous of you since you're kind of like that. But then he kind of grows to accept it and um, is just thankful that, you know, he's with all his friends and battling shadows because, he's awesome himself, so he shouldn't have to be jealous. I mean, yeah, Junpei's incredible, man. Easily one of my favorite fictional characters ever. So, yeah. Um, is that all I want to say about Junpei? Because I could go on forever. Um, let me think. Dude, I know what I was gonna say. His voice acting, probably the best. It's either him or Yuko. Um, I think his voice changed a lot from the original game to this one, but the voice actor, whoever he is, I should have learned his name. Shout out to you because you fucking killed it. He is so funny. So funny. He makes Junpei way funnier than, because otherwise, if it was like a mid voice actor or a bad voice actor, um, I don't think Junpei would hit easily as hard as he does for me. You know what I mean? Because I feel like he would just be kind of cringy. But I mean, he kind of is, but in a good way. But his voice acting just makes him way less of that. He's just awesome, man. Junpei is just awesome. Um, but yeah, I think I'll leave it at that for all the characters. Um, Now I think I'll just talk about some of my favorite story moments and then any closing thoughts or any extra things I want to mention, and then I'll finally end this video. So let me do some thinking. Look at this now. I got a hat just like Junpei now, so I'm super cool now. Not for real. Um, I will say I think my peak enjoyment for this game, not what was the best part of the game, but just when I was enjoying it the most was towards the beginning of the game. It was when I got past the part of the demo I played and kind of the game opened up more. It was just super exciting for me. Just, um, starting social links and developing those, getting your social stats up, discovering new areas and missions, and just the actual story being interesting. Um, I thought that was cool. That was easily my peak enjoyment for the game. But the best part, easily the ending. But I gotta think if there's, you know what? Let's talk about the ending now then. But I gotta think about it first. Yeah, honestly, um, the ending was probably my favorite fictional ending. The endings are pretty much always fictional. Probably my favorite ending of anything I've ever experienced. It's so good. And I feel like with the ending of this game, though, I can actually speak about it in chronological order for the most part. So it really begins when you go into that meeting on the final day, right? So you're kind of forced into it, but yeah, you're all talking to each other, and that's when you make the promise, right? You talk about many things, just like because it's a big deal, right? You're gonna fight Nyx and potentially save the world. But one of the things mentioned was a promise. When all is said and done, they would meet up at the rooftop on graduation day. That becomes important later. But anyway, so a bunch of things go on there, and then, yeah, everyone's ready for battle. So then you enter Tartarus for the very final time. And, the first few floors are just normal enemy floors. And then you meet Jin. And obviously, Jin is going to try his best to stop you. So you get into a battle with him. You obviously beat him, or I assume you do. And, yeah, bro just decides to kill himself. um, I forget why. I think he was just weakened, defeated, and was like, you know what? I'm not going down without a fight. Or, or it might have been that, or he just didn't want to get killed by the shadows, so he pulled the pin. And, yeah. Plus, I think he had like really weakened himself anyway by injecting himself with whatever that was, those steroids or whatever. Anyway, he dies. Everyone's like, no. But it's like, man, who gives a fuck? He was an asshole. But no, I'm just kidding. Um, but yeah, then you move on. There's some more floors, and then you fight Takaya. Takaya, I think he tries to convince you guys one last time. Either that, or he had already just been, he's already been, given up on you basically. And it's like, yeah, I can't change these people's minds. So then he fights you. His boss battle is pretty cool, just like Jin's. His persona is really cool, whatever that is. Um, and then, yeah, not too difficult. You can beat him, but it was still a really cool boss battle. Oh yeah, by the way, my final my final team was uh my favorite characters at the time, obviously. So Junpei was on it, and Koromaru, of course. And then I also had Aigis, just because of story significance, especially with episode Aigis, and because I really liked her. Um, but yeah, that was like my final team going up to Tartarus, because throughout the entire game, I just spun a wheel, and that's how I decided what characters would be on my team. Just completely random, mixing it up for everyone. But I thought for the final battle or final moments, I just would use my favorites. So yeah, and then episode Aegis was the same thing, except instead of Aegis, I used Metis just because of story significance and all that. Um, but yeah, um, but yeah. Anyway, you beat Takaya. He seems defeated because I think he's like on the ground like this or whatever. That's really funny. I think when that happened, I like recorded a video of me just dancing around his body and saved it on my Switch just because I thought it'd be funny. I don't know. But then you go up more floors after you're done with him. And then, you finally um, meet Nyx. And Nyx is obviously Ryoji. It's got the voice of Ryoji, but yeah, Nyx was bringing death to all the world or whatever. Um, but yeah, let me think a little more. Hey, little side note. Both Persona and I've been playing a lot of Balatro lately. Balatro have inspired me to get my own tarot cards. I actually don't, you know, believe they do anything, but I'm gonna start collecting cards. Because I feel like that's a fun thing to do. Just like how I collect hats and just like how I collect pennies. I'll also start collecting cards, I think. But we'll see. But yeah, just want to mention that. It's the Rider Tarot deck. Um, any other thing about it? No, just the Rider Tarot deck. So, and yeah, so you go up and battle Nyx. Very climactic final boss fight. I like how you know, they would bring the Arcana up, and depending on which Arcana Nyx was representing or using, its affinities and attacking style would completely change. You know what I mean? I thought that was a really cool use of those Arcana cards. So, yeah. It was too bad it stopped at 13. Obviously, it did because it reached death, which Nyx is. But I kind of wish it went up to uh, 22 or whatever. Even though that would be a lot. Um, but no, it makes sense it would stop there. But yeah, the battle was super fun, and then you beat Nyx, and that's when it gets really good. First of all, I think Takaya comes back up, and he becomes happy that Nyx is about to destroy the world, and then he dies. Um, but then, everyone struggles because Nyx is kind of blowing them back with some type of force, or at least kind of putting them in place. And I think that's when the whole city starts to realize something's going on, because some things start happening. I think a bunch of like shadows and stuff appear, and everyone starts being eaten by shadows and becoming shadows. So complete and utter chaos. But then I'm pretty sure that's when um, Igor and Elizabeth talk to the main character for the last time, and they let him know what his purpose was. Um, he's the Great Seal, and that card shows up, and God, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm not explaining it well, but I'm getting goosebumps. The tarot card for the world comes up, and he's supposed to represent that, or whatever. But that moment's really cool, and what I find really cool, I forget if I mentioned this already. I thought about it, but I don't know if I mentioned it, but I think it's really a really cool touch how Igor tells Makoto that he is the greatest guest he's ever had. Um, he words it differently to make it sound cooler, but um, that's really cool, and it makes sense because he sacrifices his own life to, save everyone else. So, but yeah, that's basically what happens then. So, he gets that card, then Makoto gains his newly found power, starts walking up to Nyx. I think he starts floating up, and then he enters the moon or whatever it is. And then, am I forgetting anything? I don't think I am. I think that's what happens. So he enters it, and then Burn My Dread plays. Really cool version. Really cool that they used it for this battle too. I'm not sure if it was in the original game. I'm assuming it was, or maybe it was something different. But yeah, and then you just have to attack it. Obviously, you're weak at first, but then you go stronger and stronger and stronger. Oh yeah, and one thing I want to miss is or no, I want to miss. One thing I missed because I didn't 100% or max out all the social links is I never got the part where all the other confidants talk to you and give you encouraging stuff, um, or say encouraging things. Um, I never got to that. So yeah, it was just kind of empty because Igor was like, everybody else wants to help you or whatever, and then just nothing popped up. I thought that was funny. I always felt like something was missing, and then I later found out. But hey, anyway, let me continue. So you actually finally, burn your dread and defeat Nyx, quote unquote. Hmm. And then let me pause and think for a moment. All right. Then after you beat Nyx, everything comes back to normal, or either that or before that, every other character becomes transported into this like cosmic realm, and that's when they hear from Ryoji that Makoto saved them. I'm pretty sure that happens. And then either that or he tells them about losing memories. But either way, I remember Ryoji starts talking to everyone, and I think that's when they find out that Makoto really did save them all. Um, and then after that, everything turns back to normal, and yeah, you see the school, and then Makoto walks out. They all go up to him. They all start crying. They, they start embracing him for being a hero, and yeah, that's really cool. And then let me pause it for a second. And then, you know, the ending itself is already really good at this point. Eh, It just gets even better. All right, so I think there's a time skip to March, I believe. But, you know, like Ryoji said, they would lose their memories. Um, yeah, I think he said that. Even if they beat Nyx or whatever. And I mean, that's what happened. Everyone loses their memories except for I think the protagonist himself, I believe, and Aigis, I believe. um, so it's really weird seeing everyone just kind of back to normal and just or not really back to normal, back to before everyone met each other. Um, it was kind of interesting seeing how no one really knew each other besides I think like Junpei and Yukari or whatever, just because they're in like the same class or whatever. Um, but yeah, no one really knows each other. You just kind of go around school and town and yeah. Um, I think do even like the non and or not. I think even like the non-playable characters forget about you. Um, because I'm pretty sure that shopkeeper, the one that was like the scientist before she became a shopkeeper, forgot about you. Um, they at least only remember you up to like a certain point, basically. Um, but yeah, that. Sorry, that was so awesome how you could just go around school, go around town, seeing how everything is different, while also saying your goodbyes to everyone. You know, just going around the whole town and I shouldn't say town, it's more of a city and school and dorm and just seeing everything for one last time. And then, you get back to your dorm. I think I guess wakes you up the next gay the next day and tells you that she remembers or something or that she can't stand everyone not remembering what happened. Um, so yeah, and then I'm pretty sure after that, that's when you go to the school. You're up on the rooftop, I guess holding you in your lap, your head rested on her. Nobody remembers yet. Cut to Mitsuru's graduation scene. She starts giving her speech, and then she remembers. And slowly but surely, they all start to remember. Even Ken and Koromaru, they come running from the dorm or whatever, and they all meet up on the roof. You get to see them running, but as that goes on, I guess gives you some. Am I starting to cry? I think I am. I guess starts telling you how much you mean to her and how she found her purpose to life, and that's to protect you. Um, and yeah, ever, not everyone, she tells you how much you really mean to her, and that's just so sweet. Really good cutscene, really good scene. But as anyone who's played the game knows, once you reach the roof, or not you, once all the party members reach the roof, or no, I'm trying to remember, sorry. A little before then, I think August tells you to close your eyes. Or there's another option, but close your eyes is the one you want to do, I think. That's what I did at least. And so you close your eyes, but before then, that's when all your friends come up to the roof. The promise is fulfilled, and then you pass away peacefully. And then a really nice scene pops up, I think, with like either blossoms or butterflies or whatever. Like cherry blossom tree or leaves, you know what I mean? But super sweet, super. If I were to describe the ending in just one word, bittersweet. Very, very bittersweet. And that's the game. And then you also not only do you get the best ending of all time, at least that I've experienced, but you also get the best credit scene that I've experienced. That, I was crying when that happened, but I remember the exact moment I cried again. It was when Koromaru's cute little face popped up. And I started bawling, man. Koromaru's the best. Not even for Junpei, just Koromaru. Um, yeah. The song that accompanies it, Memories of You, super good. It's such an emotional song. Not so much when you listen to it outside the credits, but after all that happens and the game concludes, oh my God, it just hits different. And then they show all the memories throughout the game and all the characters cutouts popping up. What a wonderful game, truly. And then the last final touch. This applies to episode I guess too. When you do a new game plus or just when you go back to the title, the menu changes. The title menu. Instead of being all the characters just sitting all cool and stuff in the classroom, you see a really nice baby blue kind of background. But with it's like the classroom, and then you see out the window, you see the sky. I think you see some cherry blossoms too. The music changes. So beautiful. Same with episode Aegis, though not as much because obviously the story in the main game was much better. But in episode Aegis, you just get the outside of the dorm with some. I think it's the same music though. Holy shit, what a game. What a game, man. It's too soon to say. I don't know if it'll be top 10 all time for me, but I could see it being easily top 15, top 20 for life. This game is just incredible. There's so many incredible video games out there. This is just one of many. So, yeah, I mean, I highly recommend you play Persona 3 Reload. Honestly, you know, just Persona in general. Give it a try. It's awesome. And even if I do want to say more things, I think it's best I should wrap things up here. I mean, this video is already 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 44 seconds. 45, 46. It keeps going up. But hey, thank you all for watching, guys. This game meant a lot to me. If you actually stuck around to the end of this video, you're a fucking legend. This video is not nearly entertaining enough for any sane person to do that. Or I shouldn't insult you. I'm just joking around. I thank you so much if you do. Um, and also thank you guys so much for all the views on my uh, last video, or actually the video before that, the reading journey one. To me, that's the worst video I've ever posted. So it's funny how it's got like the second most views at the moment, but whatever. Thank you guys for enjoying it. Um, and also thank you to the new, or yeah, the new 2 subscribers I've gotten. So, okay, my mom's calling for me, so I think I should end the video now. Take care, guys. Goodbye.